back at Slurpathon 2024 with Axiom Verge 1, starring ThorialTheLich. We are raising money for Extra Life. Proceeds go to the Alberta Children's Hospital Foundation. Take it away, Thorial.
Hey, welcome in everybody. So, yeah, Axiom Verge 1, Masochist logic, and as determined by chat, I am doing this on hard mode, and I have to fight all bosses, and as determined by our good friend Falcon's Freak 02, this is the seat that I'm going to be running, and here on my couch with me I have Seraphim again.
Hi. Unlike the Axiom Verge 2 run, this is a game I know much more about, because I am the record holder for 17 of the 18 randomizer categories for this game.
And of course, also on my couch here is Zanuck.
Hi. Once again, I'm Zanuck. I played this game once when it came out, and then played the soundtrack on loop until the sequel came out.
So basically my same experience with Axiom Verge 2. On that note, are we all ready to go here then?
Do it.
Alrighty. In 3, 2, 1, go.
It's your run, you get to say the thing.
Alrighty, and remember, all the cool kids do the moonwalk.
Falk, by the way, is in the chat. He says he accepts all blame for this.
Perfect, I'm gonna be cursing your name likely, Falk. Well, that's not the worst starting weapon, that's for sure.
So that is Data Bomb?
That's data bombs, yeah. Which I'm perfectly fine working with.
They're pretty strong little explosives.
Yeah. It shoots
They'll
straight, which is already like an upside to this, because there's a few weapons that have some really strange movement patterns, and along with that, there's some that just, like, this has that little AoE. I meant to jump there.
Good way to start off the Brinstar climb.
Of course.
Yeah. So this is an all bosses run, but I'm gonna try and tempt you into doing a thing if it happens, depending on what you get up here.
Left it.
So we haven't explained anything about this game. Axiom Verge is the hit, was it
2015.
2015 Metroidvania?
Also developed by Tom Happ.
Yeah, by Tom Happ. Same creator as the last game that was on Axiom Verge 2, go figure, by the name Fat Beam. Okay, so Fat Beam is probably the most broken thing in the game.
Yeah.
Its distance that it fires and can touch things, as far as I've ever been able to determine, is about 3 map tiles away.
Yeah.
So right now, Thorial's not only firing from this end of the room to the other end of the room, but also into the tile on the next room. And that can actually be useful for some things. Namely, one of the major glitches you can do is hit switches like this one right here while you're in a different room. And if you hit a switch like that while in a different room, it turns off the gates in the room you're in. So, yeah, it can definitely be used as a little trick to get around some things. Is that trench coat?
Yeah.
So trench coat is it's the level 2 coat, and it lets you dash, but it also lets you go through 2 tile thick walls, as well as vertically through 1 tile.
Well, upwards, you can go 2 tiles by using the grapple shenanigans.
Well, we'll get back to that later, though.
Hopefully. I wish to see grapple shenanigans.
Thorial, I'm gonna tempt you here into doing Falk Strat since you have the Fat Beam and you can.
I can, but I have to kill the boss anyways.
You would still have to come back for it later, yes.
Yeah, so why would I bother? I mean, alright, fine. I'm just
to kind of show off what Fat Beam can do. So, like, right now, there's a switch under this room, which Thorial just hit, which disabled the doors in the boss room. So you could just walk out of the boss room.
Yeah.
That's a thing.
It's not like going back to Zeta at some point is that far out of the way anyways, because I could just respawn at start and go from there.
I'm hearing from chat that audio could go up a little bit.
Oh.
If you get a sec like in between a safe quit, to just
Yeah.
speed it up a little bit.
Game audio, I'm guessing?
Yeah, game audio.
Okay.
Well, maybe all audio? Hang on, I'm gonna check with that person, because it could just be that person.
While we're figuring that out, do you have time for some announcements?
Indeed.
Yep. All right. We have a donation from Xanax00. Wow. I wonder who that guy is. Who donates $30 and says $30 from Axiom Verge 2 deaths and crashes. Put this toward tomorrow's incentives and good luck all.
What a nice guy.
Thank you, Zanuck. Very nice of you.
I'm
You
sure
shouldn't
that
do
person
Chris
says you're
Brown.
welcome.
Sorry?
Falcon02 says, donates $20 and says, best of luck to all the runners. So happy to support a great cause. Donation goes to Disabling Hinson Archipelago because we need to inflict as much pain as possible.
Oh boy.
Inflicting pain on yourself, Elk. I appreciate that.
So I want to take just a quick moment to mention the two strats that were just done. Falc strat is something that was coined off of a joke a long while back, which is literally just skipping Zeter and not getting the item behind him technically, with Zeter being the first boss. And if it goes wrong, you just blame Falc, in which, since he rolled the seed, we could definitely just blame him for it. Chris Strat is something I literally just came up with a name for, which would have been skipping the item at the very top, which is normally multi-disruptor. Because Chris has a tendency to just not check that item.
Okay. Well, I don't mind getting high jump this early on either. That's certainly pretty well
Wi-Fi is
appreciated.
always great to have.
Yeah.
Why Wi-Fi makes you jump higher, we still don't know.
No.
And address bombs? So there's our glitch tool.
Mm-hmm.
So address bombs are the level 3 glitch tool, and it works as both the level 1 and level 2, and it just hits the whole screen. But you do have limited uses of them.
Yeah.
But they work kind of in a similar fashion to Zanuck, what's the urn that you picked up in 2 that lets you hack stuff?
I call that infect. Its name is Mushus.
Yeah, that's it. It lets you mess with enemies, mess with some other things in the game, like some bubbles that are floating around you can turn to platforms and a variety of other things like that. It lets you get rid of some breach walls and things like that. Stuff we'll be seeing a bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know this game is very similar to Axiom Verge 2?
I did. Can't remember who told me that.
I haven't seen enough of Axiom Verge 2 to make that determination.
Well, you know how you mentioned that you can use this gun to hit switches in other rooms? That and open doors in your current room, that happens in Axiom Verge 2. It's harder to make use of, but it is there.
What Thorial just picked up is this game's drone, which kind of works the same way as it does in Axiom Verge 2, but slightly different.
Little scuttler friend.
Trace actually gets a force field around him. Indra does not.
There's that too, yeah. I don't know why I despawned my drone there.
Because you didn't need that little thing.
No. No, I should just save and quit though,
You could
because I
save
don't
quit,
need
yeah.
that, yeah. I'm not...
The little red nodes that Thorial is skipping are health node fragments, and you need to collect 5 of them to get an extra piece of health, and they're just not worth the, 7 seconds or whatever it is you lose for picking them up.
I think it's 3.5 seconds per pickup. And...
No, it is definitely longer than 3.5 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, if it comes to needing extra, well, health, or I guess damage reduction in this case, picking up that is far more worthwhile.
Yeah, so that was lab coat. That's the level 1 coat, which lets you kind of double tap to walk through the 1 tile thick walls.
Boy.
But what he just picked up, being the grapple, is much, much more important, and is the most broken thing that this game has to offer. It was very intentionally designed by Tom to be as broken as possible. It is designed after Bionic Commando's grapple beam, and for anyone who's ever played or seen Bionic Commando,
Swap that out of my way.
it's really, really glitchy, and it lets us do a lot of jank.
Yeah, it is easily one of the best items in this game. I love a game with a good grapple hook, but I love a game even more with a broken one. And this thing is very, very broken. And with any luck, I'll get to show off some of just how broken grapple hook is in this.
Well, I mean, if you want to make a little diversion and go a little out of your way, there's a spot coming up. You can do that.
I was thinking about doing just that.
If you're gonna do that, I would make the save right here at Elsa Nova.
You know what? Yeah, probably a good idea.
Just because it's the amount of time you would use to go back right now, save, and then go forward and do it, saves you over having to walk all the way down to Elsa Nova again.
Yeah.
Because what he's going to do is put himself into a position that is going to soft lock him.
Yeah, I'm going to soft lock myself for giggles just to show off how broken the grapple is in this.
So one of the... I'm going to try and explain it here before you actually do it. The grapple has a lot of random things that it does. One of those things is that if you are in a place... If you lock your position, tap down, you can shoot the grapple forward. And if you tap up and jump and realign it to be upright under a wall, it will take the full placement of where it should be. Right side of the gate works better.
There we go.
It'll take that full length of it and put Trace at the bottom of it. And if that bottom placement happens to be under a wall, it just lets you just do things like clip through floors and through entire rooms like he just did.
Yep.
And while you're out of bounds like that, you can't interact with anything. But if you can go through a door, it'll reload the room and reload you in the new area. So you can use it to just completely skip and bypass walls. And as we literally say in this game, walls are a suggestion.
Yeah, they're very optional. And I don't mind soft locking myself for a couple seconds to get a full health node. At least it was something at least vaguely worthwhile.
So if walls are a suggestion, can you explain to me what masochist logic is?
Yes, so the game has 3 tiers of logic. It has default logic, which is designed to be at players who have played the game at least once or twice and kind of know the general basics of the game and want to play randomizer. So it's logic that's going to be very dictated more towards a starter. The advanced logic is aimed at people who know some of the tricks, like being able to fly through the air with the drone, like resetting its cooldown while in the air. And Thorial, where are you going? You don't need to go.
Going to fight to lol?
I mean, you could, but like, I would have went the other way, done the power-ups, and then just went and got him on the way back.
I could, but I don't really... I think it's debatable as to whether or not it's faster to do this, get the power-ups on the way back down.
See, I would have went for the power-ups first because you could have got more power nodes.
I mean, I have Fat Beam and a full power. It's not going to change that much.
Anyways, advanced logic is aimed towards people who know some general kind of tricks for playing the game and getting around a bit faster and doing not necessarily glitch-worthy stuff, but just general movement kind of tricks. Masochist logic was originally aimed at 3 people who could do one trick very late in the game, which I'll get back to quite a bit later in the game when we get there. But originally only 3 people could do it. It has since then expanded to much more people, but it is aimed at people who know how to do really difficult tricks and things like clipping through the floor like Thorial did. And eventually, we're gonna have, because we can now do custom logics. At some point in time, I'll get around to making what would be called the pattern mine logic, which will use every single possible glitch and trick in the game to create its logic, which is going to be probably impossible for anyone but me and Thorial to play.
Maybe Falk.
No, Falk hates glitches.
Yeah, we're the two people that are definitely crazy enough to do that for some reason or another.
VGR would be the third person I would say who would probably have any chance at doing it.
Yeah.
But even then, that's a maybe. Me and you would probably be the only two people I can think of offhand who would be absolutely insane enough to actually run Pattern 9, because its number of tricks are things that aren't even in Logic and Masochist and are just an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, there's a few.
That's a lot of out-of-bounds movement and shenanigans. But yeah, so that's the differences between the current Logic settings. There is also some differences between the Logic that is currently out on consoles, what's currently out on PC, and what's currently on beta on PC. The current Logic that's out on consoles and PC is in a fashion where you will always find an item by where you should have an item normally in Logic. So you will always find an Axiom Disruptor by the time you get to where Axiom Disruptor 1's location is. That is the absolute latest you would find it. You will always find Trench Coat by Trench Coat's placement in vanilla at the latest. The current beta Logic changes that and does everything on location base. So as long as you can get to an area by any of the means that are from the items that you have, an item can be there that is logically progressive.
Alright. I need to see hashtag scientific thighs showing up in chat here.
Hashtag thighs for science.
Yeah.
Thorial's gonna take a free 15-second time loss here to do something that might look very familiar to some NES fans. We're just gonna show off Trace's thighs and keep moving.
Yeah.
The passcode tool is used to open several rooms to get a variety of checks. And it can also be used to input some specialty passwords, which do a variety of things. You can use it to enable different outfits for Trace, as you see. And you can also use it to enable a debug mode that was built into the randomizer.
So we're just gonna clip through the floor again because it's faster than going through an extra couple of room transitions there.
And these spiders are the worst. They get in your way anytime they are around.
Yeah, I was just... I figured it was just as easy to damage boost through it than actually kill it.
Chris, you should never doubt Thorial on going out of his way to get the passcode tool, because he will 100% of the time.
I was debating on it, but it's like somebody's gonna yell at me for not not showing off some thighs for science, so...
So what Thorial just did there was an example of the ceiling clips with the grapple beam. So if you grab onto a one-tile thick ceiling and dash up, you can dash through it with Trench Coat, because it's one tile thick. With a two-tile thick ceiling, it's based off of Trace's feet. So if you swing to the side and dash upwards while his feet are touching the ceiling, you're technically dashing the right amount of space upwards. So you can clip through two-tile ceilings by doing a little swing with the grappling hook, which is something that actually is very useful for a variety of different purposes. Which, Thorial, I want to remind you not to kill Sentinel unless you have...
Oh, I know. Oh, I'm aware.
Because that's a run ender, and we don't want that to happen.
Alright. Yeah.
Alright. If you've got a moment, I have some announcements.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, we're just gonna go down the Metroid hallway, so...
We have opened up some new bid incentives for later today. Resident Evil 4 BioRand now has a bid war for the playable character to be Leon, Luis, or Ada. That is now open. And we have a $30 donation from Thunderhoser. Thank you so much.
Thunderhoser, thank you for coming in with that donation. That is most definitely my older brother coming in here to donate. So thank you and good luck on your run, you absolute mad lad.
I was gonna say that had to be somebody Canadian because that was definitely a very Canadian name.
Yeah, that's
I've never heard the name Hoser used anywhere outside of Canada.
that's my brother having jokes.
Well, thank you, Thorial's brother, for donating.
I'll take that.
That's a full node.
Yeah.
It's always nice to see a full node show, but it's strange that Falk actually picked a seed for you that had full nodes, because I definitely wasn't expecting. So, like, what are your thoughts on this, knowing that Falk picked out this seed? Because, like, knowing him, you know, he would pick, oh, we're going to do the forehead jump here, which, if done exactly right, lets you kind of just clip around a tile and jump up on
Veruska. Yeah.
Hey, it was right. Yeah, what do you think about the seed Falk pick? Because, like, knowing Falk, I would have expected the most evil thing possible.
Yeah, I could definitely think of things worse than this that I've already encountered myself just casually playing rando.
Because, like, that's 3 full health and 3 power?
Yeah. Since I have grapple, I'm just going to check out Peekaboo 2 from the top, and if I want the item, I'll clip to it.
Yeah, the next item that Thorial's going to get, you're intended to go through a semi-long room and go all the way around through a bunch of ghouls and things to clip through, to dash through a couple of walls to the left there, as you can see. But with grapple, we could just clip through the floor to get it, and then dash back out of the room through the ceiling if we wanted to.
There's actually...
I think Greg took the dash out the ceiling, but...
There's even there's an even faster strat normally than, with trench coat anyways, than going around the long way. You can kind of go up from the bottom and skip most of the platforming in that room, but it's still longer than just grapple clipping to the item if it's something that you actually want.
Yeah, if you have grapple and you are any kind of decent at doing grapple clips, it is definitely faster to just grapple clip.
It is a pretty free grapple clip too. It's far from being one of the more annoying ones.
Yeah, so there are several grapple clips that require you to land the grapple on the upswing. So, like, at the point at which it goes out, it has to go out a specific distance, and then you have to tap up so it grabs a specific tile on the ceiling so that it puts Trace in a specific placement under it. Which, yeah, get very, very annoying. But other rooms like that one, where there's just a bunch of open space underneath, you can hit, like, any of the open tiles and it'll take you through the floor.
And thankfully I'm going through this area and I have, 4 whole power nodes, which at this point is
And
honestly kind of rare. So I'm just damage boosting through.
With like 50% damage reduction or 60 something.
That too, yeah.
It's like you have a lot of damage reduction right now, so like the drone can just tank everything.
I have a lot of damage reduction and honestly a pretty good amount of health too. For both Trace and the drone. Now, if it weren't for the fact that I'm doing all bosses, I could casually just skip this thing. Regardless, I'm going to do a strat known as the Pepto-Biz crawl. As you look here, there's all this wonderful pink liquid in this room, and I could fight this boss normally, but why would I do that when I could just, yet again, the same thing I did with Talal, get behind it and not fight it normally? Actually, because I have
to get up
fat
on the
beam.
ledge to the right.
Yeah. Oh, come on now. Well, eh. It's cannons in my way, and I'm not going to deal with it. Because I'd have to throw out another address bomb to get those platforms back on the ground. Bye-bye, Ruku. Nice to actually fight you for a change. Instead of just walking by.
So at this point, there's some options on where you could go, because this is the point in the game that like things kind of split, and you can go some different directions on things. So, what are you thinking now?
I'm gonna go to Kerr. It's got a high item density and it's got a boss that I gotta take care of anyways. There's very little value in me going to Ukana right now, because I'm gonna have to go there later regardless, and Eden, unless if I had drone teleport, I'd be more inclined to do that now, but I don't, so I'm still gonna check this item here though, while I'm in the neighborhood. I'll quickly grab that. Why is my head stuck in the ceiling?
Because you put your head in the ceiling.
Oh, right.
So this little area here in between is called Indy. It's just a little hub that lets you kind of faster travel between areas, because there isn't a like true fast travel in this game, short of just saving and quitting.
But we are gonna stop and give Araka some head scritches while I'm at it.
And spin the disco laser.
Yeah.
I remember that room. That was a lot of fun.
So Kerr is an area that's divided into two actual sections. There is Lower Kerr and there is Upper Kerr. And it's kind of hard to tell a little bit that you go between the two areas, because Tom did something with the music, and the music does change between the two areas, but blends very, very well, and is sometimes unnoticeable that the soundtrack even changed.
Yeah.
But it will visually change from this more cavernous inside area to a very outside area once Thorial heads up there. Assuming we need to head up.
Oh, we will.
I mean, we'll find out if we will, but...
I mean, regardless, I gotta go up there to kill Gear Tab.
Oh yeah, you do have to go kill Gear Tab. Right,
Yeah.
bosses.
Yeah, that's the thing that I gotta do. Well, at least breaking those 30 blocks wasn't the longest it could possibly be. Doing that with zero power.
Breaking those blocks when you have 0 power nodes takes an age to do. Did you just pick up another
I got
one?
another full power, Lord.
Is that 5?
I thought it was
We're
gonna be
take the
Cursing
back
Falk's
door
name.
here. We're gonna take the back door here into getting the what is this normally? Tether charge?
Tether charge.
Yeah, so normally right there where Trace is, there's like 8 walls that you can't get through, but Fat Beam lets you hit the switch that's all the way over here, and you just take the back door instead of going through like 3 other screens to get... No, it's 2 other screens and a really big room to get back up there.
Yeah. Along with that, I did a setup for a trick known as a displacement warp, which I'm going to do again here, where I throw my drone out in a place where there would normally be breakable blocks, and I recall it to myself after going through a room transition. So it spawns the blocks back in, it's not sure where to put Trace, so it just moves Trace up until the next place you can stand. You can skip a lot of rooms by doing that.
You can do that pretty much anywhere where there are breakable tiles that you can make Trace stand in and then send your drone out.
Yeah.
Where you'll end up is all kinds of different too, because like there is a map that we have on the speedrunning wiki, and the map is a full tiled map and is so large that it literally takes forever for the website to just load the image, but it does literally show tile by tile every single place in the game that you can displacement warp, and you can get so many different places in this game from just displacement warping and just going straight up.
Yeah, between the grapple, the displacement warps, and then the actual intentional methods of using the trench coat and all the coat upgrades, walls in this game are very optional.
It should be noted, by the way, for anybody who is interested in getting into Randomizer or is on like maybe advanced or default and is kind of looking at this going, this is way too crazy. A bunch of the stuff Thorial's doing in this isn't actually in logic. Displacement warp, what he did to just go up through the ceiling, that actually is not in logic. It's, at this point, mostly just a time save.
Yeah.
Masochist logic does, in some places, require you to clip through the floor, but it's not any of these super difficult clips. But there are a few places where it is in logic. But that's an example of the kind of thing that you are expected to learn to be able to run this logic.
Yeah.
And on that note, like, if anybody wants to learn some of these tricks or learn how to play Randomizer, feel free to come by the Axiom Verge Discord. We are a very friendly community, and we are definitely willing to help you learn and play. And there's people who would be willing to do races and that kind of thing if anyone is interested.
Yeah, I'm always down for a good race too. It's been a while since we've done any.
I used to do them weekly, and then just life and didn't have time.
Yeah.
Yeah, just an unfortunate case. That was an incredible drone launch.
Thank you.
Ooh, you're gonna go up into Ikerma?
Nope. not without drone teleport.
Oh yeah, you do have to have drone teleport. Well,
You can
you have that
get there
teleport in
without it, but it's just not worth it.
It was more so I was just kind of thinking of like you're up here, and it's not often that you're actually up here.
You know what? I'm just gonna take this for some safety because I've taken a few hits.
Because like I kind of feel like Falcon knowing the seed kind of might have put seed where
Red coat and
Red coat is up there. So right now, basically, we're looking for one item to be able to go finish the game. The third coat tier is just called red coat because it's a coat that's red. Go figure. And it lets you dash a bit farther than trench coat does. It also will destroy tiles as you go through them if they are breakable.
And
to
enemies.
Get into the final area of the game, you have to be able to dash upward through some tiles that are on the other side of a solid wall. So red coat is required.
Yeah, it's a very hard requirement.
So far, anyways.
Yeah.
Someday somebody will figure out how to get past it, but
somebody will
no
find
one's
like
been
a
able to yet.
weird backwards void warp something to get
We've
through
definitely
there.
tried. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, the floor clip with grapple was actually found by Rare Beef, who's our community glitch hunter, and it was found on accident while he was trying to find a way to bypass the blocks into the final area of the game. So, like, that's a thing.
So, coming up here, I'm actually going to drop down. Normally, I wouldn't bother doing this, but all bosses, it is a requirement. I'm going to drop down and fight Gear Tab, who is going to look significantly easier than it actually is, because this boss can be a real annoyance if you're, Oh, I got the, dash through there. But Fat Beam just trivializes this entire fight.
If you come in from the right side, it'll put you inside the beams for the door,
Yeah.
and you can still shoot him with Fat Beam.
Oh yeah, I've never actually had Fat Beam by going in through that side.
Oh yeah, like, try it sometime. Just come in through here. What's this one's name? I can never remember.
Dead?
If you come in through, yeah, try it sometime. If you come in through the right door and you have Fat Beam, you can just stand there in the door and shoot him. It's hilarious.
That is pretty good, yeah.
This room is called the Zoo. This is a room that Tom Happ himself admits he probably put a few too many enemies in. This is what, I think he mentioned in an interview, the game itself was just supposed to be like in general. And then this turned out to be a bit too much and a bit too rough, and then he just reduced the amount of enemies in rooms.
Yeah.
Except this one for some reason.
He just forgot to reduce the amount of enemies in here. You know what? I'm gonna take that.
Never turned down a full health mode.
Yeah. 800 health is pretty lenient, though.
But yeah, so there's just a ton of enemies in that room, that's why we call it the Zoo.
I'm gonna start clearing some of this early stuff out, and while I'm at it, I'll actually go and undo my Falk skip. I was half considering leaving Zader for my second last boss, but just for giggles.
I mean, yeah, this probably isn't a bad time to just go knock that out, because then you can go from here to Okinawa, which is what I assume you're thinking.
Yeah.
So, when I first came around to the Axiom Verge Discord, I got kind of into the style of playing it and got pretty comfortable with it. And about a month after I started playing, Thorial showed up in the community. And so, naturally, we both were pretty new to the community, so we started both kind of learning Randomizer together and doing... we were racing, like, nightly for a while, weren't we?
We were racing a ton.
Yeah, we were racing for a good long time, and so the two of us both kind of learned one strat and taught it to the other person. The other person would learn something and teach it to the first person, and we went back and forth like that. This is another displacement warp right here being done to the room up above the starting room.
And I'm
but we
gonna
both-
use this to set up another displacement warp too while I'm doing an item check.
Yeah. Gonna go right from one displacement warp into another displacement warp and check an item at the same time. But we both learned a lot from each other, and so as a result, we have very, very similar trains of thought when it comes to actually how to run the randomizer, because we just both have the exact same strategy for playing randomizer, because it's what we did for like several months.
Yeah, we played this game a lot.
We've had more than one race that ended less than a minute apart.
We've had a
Just
few
because
races that have ended within like 10 seconds of each other.
Yeah. Just because we were both on the same thought process of like, we're going here to here, we got this, now we go here, and yeah.
Yeah. Also, that beam with this much power is very disgusting. I love it.
Is. You're just clearing the whole room from the door. Like, Fat Beam is a gun that is one that a lot of people may not have ever seen. In vanilla, you would get it from a secret world, which are not in Randomizer at all. They're just not there. In vanilla, if you've ever been walking around and seen your screen start to get kind of glitchy, somewhere nearby you is a wall that you can hack that will let you into an area that, by game lore, shouldn't actually exist. It just shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And as a result, those secret worlds happen to be... I think there's 2 of them in each area. Something like that, but in total, there's like 10 of them in each area. Only just 2 of them spawn per game.
Yeah.
And there's a 1 in 6 chance that one of the hard difficulty ones will contain one of the 3 secret weapons.
2 of them are very good, and one of them has a lot of potential to be good, but it's a little wonky.
I assume you're referring to
Heat Seeker?
Heat Seeker, yeah, the one
Yeah.
I like.
Not even saying it's a bad weapon, just that it's not as good as it could be.
It definitely is a little wonky on its tracking, but that's either here or there. Fat Beam is one of those secret world weapons, and you can obviously see why. It's disgustingly overpowered.
And honestly,
especially when you have a bunch of power.
the one that we hadn't mentioned yet, Scissor Beam, is also very, very powerful.
And it's also actually my favorite weapon in this game.
Yeah, for
Just because
good reason.
I just like how it's designed. Because
Yeah.
it is a gun that literally fires and is designed like a pair of scissors.
Yeah, it kind of does what it says on the tin, but I'm grateful for
Good
it.
jump.
Ew, no.
Bad weapon.
Very bad weapon. We don't want to see
What
that.
Thorial did there towards the end of that was a very precisely timed jump into the corner that offset his movement from the fired shots from the drone so that he wouldn't get hit. And in a case where if he just didn't have any health on his drone, like if he had no power, that a shot from one of those sentinels would have just instant killed the drone and he would have been reset on the room.
Yeah.
So being able to just skip those is a nice little thing to be able to do just so you can get that check. There's a hidden ceiling walkway here for the drone.
Yeah, you can see the little lobster. Not sure what they're called. I used to know. Snail, yeah. You can see it walking around, and if you actually paid attention to it, it will walk around into that little secret tunnel, so it does give you a hint that it's there.
You'll notice Thoriel's just walking in place on Araka. That happens unless you have a really low frame rate or are me.
Yeah.
Be-
Also,
what
just
Thoriel
gonna despawn the music.
is a neat little trick that makes him go faster through tubes when you're going down. If you grapple a ceiling while standing and then press down off of it, it just makes you go through the pipe faster. No idea why.
If you want to see what other dumb things grapple does with doors, you'll get a good example of that here in a second.
Okay, I'm gonna try and explain drug skip as fast as I can. So what Thoriel's about to do is he's going to lock himself in place and do the same kind of movement he would do with the grapple for doing a floor clip. Except what he's gonna do is he's gonna do it while, or no, I'm sorry, he's doing that one. He's tapping down, firing the grapple forward, and then going up through the pipe at the same time that the grapple is latching onto the pipe, which clipped him way out of bounds, way into another part of the stage, because the game thinks he's at those coordinates on this map now. Then he did a floor clip to put himself into a save room at the very top of the map, to put himself right next to the boss room, and skip an entire sequence of the game that's actually kind of annoying to go through.
And honestly, that floor clip is fairly precise, and you have to do it all blind, too.
That was really fast, too. So
yeah, I got it
really
my
well
second
done on
attempt.
That was a really good drug skim.
Uh,
Like, that was first try on the door and second try on the floor clip. Like,
yeah,
that was really well done.
that is a very fun trick to do. I like just how obnoxious that is, because it's like, yeah, just clip, like, here's this really obscure clip that allows you to get completely into an area you're not supposed to be, and without trench coat, it's even more, absurd than that, because you have to then initially clip through the laser gate to begin with. And then you have to do this precise, like, floor clip while you can't see what you're doing. There is a tile on the left side of the screen that I use to set myself up so I know where I need to be standing so I don't soft lock myself, too.
But subpixels play a role sometimes, too, and they just... There's Scissor Beam!
Speaking of...
So Scissor Beam, if Thorio wants to use it for a minute, is my favorite weapon in the game. It's just because of how it's designed. It's really... It kind of looks like it's a cone, but only the two green lines on the side are actually doing damage. But each of them do damage, and it can hit a really, really far distance for being the kind of weapon that it is.
Yeah.
It can be used to actually hit some switches that, like, other guns can't hit at all.
Yeah, the same method that I used with Vat Beam to skip Zader in the beginning can be done with Scissor Beam as well. You can just stand on one of the tiles on the right light and aim directly down and hit the switch and disable the laser gate the same way.
Yeah. It's also very, very strong. So, like, that's a huge benefit.
We're just gonna take a ride in the severed head that's just hanging around here and flying about.
The head's name starts with, it's DR
Daraka, I think. I'm not sure. Daruga?
I don't know, somebody... If we have anybody from the AV community still in the chat, somebody would know.
Orloth, we need your help.
So it's like, give me the quantum variegator or give me death.
No.
It is.
Yeah, you could have the latter choice. I don't want Squiggly Wiggly. We're also just gonna, like...
here, if Thoriel's gonna do it, is one that I found.
Yeah.
You just clip yourself into that one tile, you can make that check, and then you can just kind of right back out of it. Saves you from going to the other end of the room, making that thing crush through the floor, and then going down the whole hallway with drone.
Yep. A lot faster to do it that way.
That was my one contribution to the community. That one actually made it into Sabira's 100% run.
Yeah.
All right, have we got time to talk about health nodes?
Sure.
If you would like to donate money so that the Children's Hospital in Alberta,
Well,
the Alberta Children's Hospital Foundation, please feel free to send some money their way and they can buy some health notes. Last year, Slurpathon raised $2,451.13 for Extra Life. We are currently at $674.63 on the first day alone, with a good handful of additional ones yet to come today. Extra Life brings together thousands of gamers around the world to play games in support of their local Children's Miracle Network Hospital. Since its inception in 2008, Extra Life has raised over $100 million US for sick and injured kids.
So, I want to go back to Drug Skip for a second and just laugh at how uninventive we are as a community. Because we could have named that skip something cool, like Dare, or like we could have found a funny name for this, but we're just like, yeah, you skip the drug sequence, it's Drug Skip.
I think originally it was called Hallucination Skip because the sequence is called Hallucination Sequence, and then somewhere along the lines before me and you got to the community, somebody was just like, this is like a drug trip, and that's why it got named Drug Skip.
Yeah.
Because it was also easier to say. I think that was the story I had heard about it, but again, it was before our time in the community, so...
Before we showed up and ruined Randomizer for everybody else.
Yeah, I can also just see hallucination being a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah, exactly.
A wonderful note about the Randomizer, and again, Tom Happ being a wonderful person, is Randomizer originally started with this game as just a standalone thing that a group of people got together and decided they wanted to make a randomizer for the game, as people tend to do, you know?
Yeah.
And eventually, Tom and Dan Adelman, who did the marketing for the game, got a hold of the people on the Discord and was like, do you guys want the Discord that you have for your speedrunning and stuff to be the official Axiom Verge Discord? And they were like, of course we do. So that's how that happened. And then somewhere along the lines, Tom got a hold of the people who were working on the randomizer and was like, do you guys want to actually just put this in the game? And they were ecstatic, and of course was like, yes, we want to put this in the game. That weapon right there was Flamethrower, by the way, which is also one of the best weapons in the game, but we kind of have two better weapons, so...
Well, we have better weapons for range. For DPS, we don't, but...
I mean, Scissor Beam is arguably better. It's just a matter of how accurately you can tap with Scissor Beam.
True.
That was a really smooth floor clip.
Thank you.
But yeah, so this whole randomizer started out as just a little fan project that got actually put into the game. What Thorial's going to do here is embed himself into the wall like that, and then smash print screen.
Oh, I'm causing problems. What have I done?
You got print screen bound to something?
Apparently.
What he would be doing here is hitting print screen,
well,
which would cause the game to lag and allow him to clip through the wall.
You know what? It was probably a bad idea anyways, because I would have ended up not fighting Ruku if I did that successfully. So.
I mean, that's a fair point. You should probably go fight a Ruku.
I'm just gonna take the safety save up here anyways, because
Uku, not a Ruku.
Or Uku, right? Yeah, other one that has U in its name.
We fought Uwuku already.
Yeah, we already defeated Uwuku.
Now we have to go fight Ukuwu.
Can we get an Uwuku in chat?
So Uku, this boss, the giant bee boss, has a particular pattern that you can do to set up to put it in a position where when it releases these bees, you can hack them and then kind of move him into place. And then just
I screwed it up anyway.
Load him up on him while he opens his mouth and just instant kill him.
Yeah.
Thorial is opting to do this fight the hard way.
Yeah, Thorial doesn't know this strat because Thorial doesn't fight this boss unless he absolutely has to. I died. I figured that was gonna happen because I got sloppy there.
One death.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not overly surprised I took that one.
So yeah, Uku's strat is like move forward to like 3 tiles on the first platform, move to the end of that platform, and then move to like 3 tiles off the end of the second platform, hack the bees, and then move back.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's very specific on like where you're gonna stop there, then move over and stop there, and then move over to the like end of the next platform, so it hacks the bees, and then move back, and should be able to
There.
pull them up right on his mouth and just instant kill him like that.
Hey, now I know that's strat. Just look at that.
It wasn't quite perfect, but I mean, it was good enough.
It
Like, it still
worked.
got the instant kill, and that's what mattered. It's a really interesting strat to just use his own, like, little hatchlings
Oh, wait.
against him.
Hang on. I'm gonna make up for Zanuck. There we go.
Extra moonwalk.
We get an extra moonwalk.
So the moonwalk is
Thanks so
a
much.
silly little thing that you can do by holding the opposite direction that your character is facing in the egg while they're crouched on your D-pad. And then on an analog stick, hold the way that they are facing while being while they are in the animation frames of standing up. And it just causes them to moonwalk.
Yeah.
The big difference between Axiom Verge 1 and Axiom Verge 2 when you do it is that Axiom Verge 2 can do it through different rooms, which is really cool. This little bit right here is the little bits of breach wall. We did see some earlier in the game, I just neglected to mention it at that point. But
Yeah.
those little bits of wall you have to have address bombs to get rid of.
Yeah. That is the main use of address bombs, is to get rid of that breach wall. But especially in Randomizer, when you get that first, there are times when you need that to be, when that's really your only glitch weapon.
Don't put Trace down there.
Why?
Because if you do, you have to go past the zombies again.
I don't.
Unless you're gonna throw them back in the room. Or no, I'm thinking on the other side.
Yeah.
Ignore me.
Don't
I
worry,
never just-
I got that covered.
Thorial has played much more recently than I have, so
Yeah.
there's Quantum, which is the gun we are definitely not picking up. That
Yeah,
Tom
no.
was talking about earlier.
That's a garbage weapon, and I'm not taking it.
We've only ever known one person who actually liked that weapon, and we still don't understand why.
It's not even one person who likes it, it's just one who doesn't think it's as awful as it actually is.
No. The one person I'm thinking of actually likes that weapon.
Oh.
Yeah, she liked that weapon. We still don't know why. She just did. She really liked that weapon.
Well, I can't get the item up there right now anyways, or I guess I could if I really didn't like myself, but not worth it.
Yeah, that shouldn't be in logic at the moment, but I mean, who's following logic at this point?
Yeah. I can agree with that sentiment. Who needs logic?
Don't forget to go up and get cloned.
Oh, right, that's a thing. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I would have absolutely forgotten Clone too. This thing counts as a boss. That's really all it does. It's considered a boss.
Yeah, that's it. Is you just break one side and the other side is just a blob.
Yeah.
Clone is mostly there for story-related reasons.
Yeah. Without too many spoilers, or really any spoilers, all the bosses are technically clones of the main character, and they've been mutated and modified to be security things.
And there's some big body parts back there in that room. We'll get back to that a bit later.
Yep.
Maybe, depending on how you want to go about retracing steps.
And
Racing
trace.
steps.
Set the
Hey.
thing.
Yeah, when do we get to see the Axiom Verge?
I don't know.
Maybe
And Axiom
in
can't
3.
crawl either.
Yeah, it was brought to my attention that it is slightly unfortunate that Axiom Verge 3 isn't out or been announced or anything yet, because knowingly the way this would have went is it would have been Zanuck running 2, and oh, you picked up the key, really?
It's faster than if I actually have to do the clip.
But it's not as cool.
Yeah, that's nice. Cool or not.
This
I
would have
think we
been
can just plan to do Axiom Verge 3,
I-
1, and 2 all together in 2027 when the game is out.
right. It would have been Zanuck running 2 with me and you on the couch, then you running this with me and Zanuck on the couch, then me running 3 with you and Zanuck on the couch. It would have been just the 3 of us changing places for a few runs.
Alright.
So maybe somewhere down the line that'll actually happen. We'll see.
Now, wear red coat.
We will
I've
see.
already made my bet on where it's at.
I have a couple of theories. You know what? Yeah.
Let's see, there's 10 bosses in this game, right? So it should be, you're at 7, so it should just be Sentinel, Cedar Hole, and Athos left?
That'd be correct, yeah.
Yeah. I'm here to just make sure you don't forget anything.
Yeah.
Not to help you. So, you're still on your own for figuring this out.
Yeah. There's a few places where this could be now, and I'm intrigued as to what the option is going to be.
And I'm here to remind you all we have 2 whole more days of Slurpathon ahead, in addition to the 5 additional ones that we have today. The next one up is Popful Mail, followed by Inscription, Contra, Castlevania, Order of Ecclesia, and Resident Evil 4
Alright.
Remake.
That's right, too. Forgot that's a red coat requirement there. Or, I guess I could get through that with drone teleport, but I don't have that either, so...
You actually don't need either. You can actually angle dash through that.
Yeah,
with
you...
trench coat.
But once you get to the bottom, don't you still need to...
I don't know, I never go to actually check flamethrowers.
Yeah.
You do have the passcode rooms you can check.
Yeah, that's what I was going to check there.
Yeah.
The one up top is useless because I just went in from the back.
You did check that one already.
Yeah, exactly.
So there is the passcode tools I mentioned earlier lets you open up 4 specific spots in the game by entering specific passcodes in it while you are in the room that uses the passcode. The passcodes are hidden in the rooms themselves and are really, really hidden. One of them is this room right here, and what Thorial did is fired an address bomb, which when you fire it, slows down the game. It does that by actually slowing the frame rate of the game, which slows the in-game timer. But you can still open the menu, and everything is still slowed, which makes going into the menu and putting in a passcode drastically faster for the in-game timer than it does for just doing it normally.
Yeah.
It's not Dinger Gaspar. Dinger Gaspar is flamethrower.
Yeah, I'm just putting that in now. I already got Dalku subbed him.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you weren't sure which one it was and you were just going through them.
Nope, I'm just gonna put in the 3 right now.
Well, time is slow, just get it all at once.
Yeah. So before this was not something that was considered in logic, having to do the, okay, that's useless. Having to do the passcode tools was not considered in logic because those items were placed at the very end of everything else. So...
Almost everything.
Almost. There was one other item that was placed after that, even.
Yeah, so, as I mentioned, the logic that's currently available on consoles and Steam normally, it puts everything by its placement logically in vanilla. So you would always be able to find Redcoat by where Redcoat is in Ikerma, logically, or somewhere before that. All of the passcode rooms are after Redcoat, and the slug that Thorial hacked earlier and made break open into powered node fragment was also after Redcoat. There is a couple other things that are placed after it. There's a spot in Kerr that takes Redcoat to get to. And so obviously that wouldn't have been in logic, but like all those places are in logic now because they, as long as they can be reached.
Yeah.
With the current beta logic. So it's a very big rewrite on where the logic can actually take you.
Yeah, it's quite the change from what we initially were learning with.
Yeah. It adds a lot of different randomization options too. It was like a breath of fresh air into a randomizer, which was a huge deal.
Yeah.
This is the blue ghoul room because there are blue ghouls in here, and they hurt a lot. But Thorial can just kill them from across the room, so you know. Okay, just teleport. So that was my guess for where Redcoat was going to be.
That's what I was kind of thinking too at this point. So now there's a couple of checks up here that I actually do need drone teleport to get to.
So drone teleport lets you do just that. It lets you swap places with the drone. And when you have extended launch, you fire the drone farther and faster than normal, which makes just teleporting around and swapping places with the drone faster than dashing down hallways. One of the tricks that I was talking about earlier that kind of gets you into the advanced difficulty, or the advanced logic, is being able to do drone flight, which anytime you... Oh, there it is. Wow.
Nice.
Beautiful call.
Nice.
You could not have had a better place to have a save point.
No, and that wasn't even intentional. That just kind of worked out that way.
Absolutely amazing. Drone flight. So by swapping places with the drone, there's a small cooldown time in which you cannot re-fire the drone. And by tapping your Axiom Disruptor or the drill, you
Address Disruptor,
instantly reset that cooldown. And as a result, you can do things like fly through the air by repeatedly firing the drone, swapping places, resetting the cooldown, and refiring it. That's one of the things that kind of bump you into advanced logic. It's also how you move really, really fast through the game. It's just combinations of Redcoat dashing and drone teleport swapping.
So, since I'm at this point going to finish the game, should I try for Disco Rocket one shot just for giggles?
I was going to say, I will donate $5 if you YOLO Disco Rocket without getting hit and first try.
If I do YOLO Disco, alright, I'll give it a shot.
If you YOLO Disco, first try, make the jump, and don't get hit the whole way up, and don't take the save at the top, because you definitely don't need it.
No, that's beyond optional at this point. That ship has sailed.
If you make it first try, I'll donate $5.
Alright.
So coming up in a while, what Thorial's going to try and do is just go through a long hallway that's got some mines that have lasers everywhere. And he's going to try and just YOLO his way through it and do a jump off a ledge and do an angled dash jump with it. It's weird. It's a long, weird thing that... It's the trick that made it so that only 3 people were able to do this difficulty originally.
Yeah.
And then me and Thorial came around, and a couple other people came around. We all started really playing Randomizer, and other people learned the trick, and then I learned the trick, and then we were just like, okay.
So, I'm going to show this off here quickly, actually. So this boss is, if you didn't have to kill it, very optional. Because you could just grapple clip above it and not fight it at all.
Or if you're me, you clip out of the room to unload the boss, while at the same time having yourself grappled in the room. And then blindly, while the boss isn't loaded, clip through the ceiling and out the door.
Yeah.
Because I'm weird.
It is honestly a really cool strat to watch, but it's not worth doing.
It is slightly slower than the standard route by like 10 or 15 seconds, but it is far more impressive in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's Heat Seeker.
Yeah, I'm definitely not grabbing that at this point.
And that's a floor clip, and what Thorial's going to end up doing here is turning off these lasers and doing a displacement warp to skip the room there on the left, and which just has like 4 or 5 of those drones.
Nope, don't need it.
And then coming up is the hardest boss in the game, which is Zeterhall, which looks very much like a boss from earlier in the game, except kind of on overdrive.
So, one thing that we kind of brushed over earlier is that Redcoat does damage enemies. What we didn't mention is that Redcoat actually does a lot of damage to enemies. Redcoat is technically the most damage you're going to do in a lot of cases.
I think it's something like frame-based damage or something like that.
Yeah.
Which, on that note, I guess, it hasn't been mentioned, this game does damage based on frame rate. A very early example of this was when G-Virus ran the game in pretty early on. Good luck with this YOLO run.
Thank you.
Can
Left
you
it.
try it? Nope.
Get out of here. Stupid Omni drone.
When G-Virus ran this at a GDQ, he didn't have a particularly great run, and then he came back a few years later, and as he mentioned, he turned off VSync immediately because they found out that the damage that comes to your weapons is tied to your frame rate, and having VSync turned off just makes you do more damage.
And
that's a legitimately a thing in this game.
Valid run.
Validation check.
Useless.
So what Thorial was attempting to do there, if that one spot that goes up into the upper half of this room, you can do a dash off the ledge and jump at basically the same time. It is like double frame perfect. And what it does is it makes you dash and angle your jump up into the pipe, to which you can do another jump up to get on the ledge, and basically skip needing to have drone teleport to get up to this boss fight.
I just want to point out something I very recently learned. That thing at the top, that is a breach attractor. That is very large.
Yes, it is.
Time will be coming up here not too long from now when Spring goes black. Yeah, so that is a breach attractor, and on my first trip through Axiom Verge 2, when I picked up the breach attractor, I was like, excuse me, what? There's a bot out there of me just kind of freaking out about it somewhere.
Yeah. I'm gonna go after Elsinova here. Catch me, Elsinova!
Geronimo!
You didn't catch me! And that is time.
GG.
Thank
GG.
you. Hard Masochist. Not bad at all.
Hard Masochist, all bosses in an hour 5. It's actually pretty solid.
Yeah.
38% items.
And one death, because I got sloppy.
One very unfortunate death.
Yeah. Oh well, that
Same
happens.
death count as Axiom Verge 2.
Yeah. There was supposed to be an intentional death in this game, but we just kind of skip over it, because there's no reason to. But, yeah. That's it for Axiom Verge 1 here anyhow.
Again, if you're interested in either of the Axiom Verge games, I do recommend joining the Axiom Verge Discord. We have a wonderful group of people who would be more than willing to help you in any way, shape, or form in either of the two Axiom Verge games. We also have some very, very dedicated people to the lore for this game, because oh boy, is there some stuff with the lore for these games.
That too. And also because I have the attention span of a gnat. If somebody hopped in and said, want to race? I'd race. So, I'm always up for one of those.
And we're also still kind of looking for people to build the randomizer for Axiom Verge 2, because that hasn't happened yet. So, if anybody's interested in taking up that project, by all means.
Sorry?
Yes. Please join and talk to us in the Axiom Verge Discord. We'll be happy to have you.
If there's time, can I run the seed that Falk rolled? No. Sorry.
I don't know what the seed
That's not.
was.
Oh, that wasn't the seed? Oh?
No, it wasn't.
I must have read that wrong then. Well, oh well. That happens.
Womp
All right.
womp.
Anything else either of you want to say before we cut to a break?
No, I think that's it for me.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
join the Discord, run the randomizer, submit times for the leaderboard. There's like 18 categories on the leaderboard for randomizer.
Yeah.
Have fun.
all right. Thanks, everyone. Stay tuned for more Slurpathon. We'll be taking a short break, and then we'll return with Popful Mail SFC with Verts 505.